Oh,
Finally, holy shit, my everything turned off for some reason. It doesn't matter. What's up?
hello?
Can you hear me? Ollie?
Bro, you are so quiet.
Am I really? Okay. How about that?
Nah, it's the exact same. I can barely hear you over the music in this.
Holy shit. Okay. What seems to be the error? Oh, let me do my.
You joined. We can do the Discord call if that makes life easier.
Let's try that. Let me see if that works.
All right.
Yes, there you are. Let me turn this game to the.
Hello.
Hello, Ollie.
Hello.
Hello, Ollie.
Yeah, you're still quite quiet.
You're also quieter than here than on the game. That's so weird.
Huh.
All right, hold on. Let me. I can turn my mic. How is
Like
that?
you. Oh, that's better.
What in the fuckity fuck? Ollie, ready up.
You, when you speak, you sound a bit staticky.
That's I don't. That's so strange. What if everybody else hear that? Anyway, you should know I am live at the moment, so don't say anything suspicious unless it's hilarious.
Ugh.
Okay, now you sound different. Better even, I might add.
I've not played any of this, by the way.
Literally same. Not since last season. Now what? Love Train, Starfield. I am so ready for Starfield to come out.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. You sound better. When you speak, it's sort of like I hear like a little ringing, but that's it.
I wish I knew what that was, and I fear that it might be because my damn cat been chewing on the cord.
Hmm.
I'm a victim, I know.
Rough.
Life's hard, Ollie, but what about yours? What you been up to?
Um, not much really. Just
So now the connection's better. My game was stuttering, the audio was weird, so I switched on over. I think we should be good now.
cool.
So how's life, Ollie?
It's all right. I was saying that it's been pretty same old, but I got called up to coach the Scotland American football squad.
Oh my.
And we got a couple of camps coming up in the next few weeks, so it's fairly exciting. I'm a bit annoyed though, because the head coach, I applied for the head coach role, because fuck it, why not? And the guy who got instead, I've coached him like head coach versus head coach kind of thing, and he's never beaten me in all the years I've been involved in the sport. And he only got it because he has more life experience.
Life experience?
Yeah, so he's older than me.
Ah. Uh-huh.
But he's like a middle-aged man with like kids and all that shit. I'm 25, just like just enjoying the sport.
I mean, I guess that's one way, if you go by age, one way to guarantee everybody gets a chance, but then at the same time, maybe not everybody deserves a chance.
But I just thought it's like, I get the whole he's older and all that stuff. He might be more professional sort of thing, but like, he's not good. Like, it's just, his tactics have never been good.
Part of me thinks that being good should matter. But maybe I'm wrong about
Yeah.
that. What do I know, Ali?
It's one of my favorite quotes was from a real football coach, Jose Mourinho. Was just that guy. He is a specialist in failure. That's how I describe it.
Damn. You know, you remind me of something I've been meaning to ask. So, like, ooh, somebody's right here. So, like, is this all, like, one league or something?
What, like Brit?
You know, I realized that wasn't a very clear question. Let me rephrase. So you were saying, like, you know, how you're such a winning player and coach with all these championships and awards or something. Is that for, like, one particular league, or is this, like, across your career for all different types of stuff?
It's across your career, so it's like we don't really have. Well, at certain age levels, you don't really have leagues. Like, you obviously have a league, but you don't like change leagues. So like, in the youngest you can play the sport is between 13 and 16. That's called the youth group. And during that time is when I never lost a game. And then we have the junior, which is the next age up, which is between 17 and 19. And I've only lost twice ever at that age limit. And then you have senior, where there's like normal leagues and the usual structure. And yeah, we've lost a couple more. We're getting better.
Well, damn.
Our senior, our adult team have only existed for like 8 years. So we're pretty new. That we have individually good players, so we get away with stuff, but once you reach a certain level in like the playoffs and all that, you get a bit humbled. But I like it. I like the challenge.
You know what
Why not?
I always wonder, and I'm not I feel like there's an answer for this. I'm just not sure what that answer is. But I always wonder, why is it so easy for, like, people to do well when they're young, but then as soon as they get older, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I know that, you know, generally speaking, people are just getting better. Wow, I have not been showing my screen this entire time. Holy shit. Anyway, I do know that, like, generally speaking, it's just that, like, people get better. But I wonder, it's like, why do we run into people that are better more often when we're older? It's just because when the older they are, the more likely they are to spend more time doing it? I don't know.
I think when you're younger doing a sport, it's very much like, oh, this is fun, I'll give this a go, and that's sort of it. Like, you do something because you enjoy doing it because it's fun.
Right.
And then once you get older and then you've got more stuff to worry about, like work and all that other sort of commitments, you then have to make a choice. Do I keep doing the sports, or do I pack it in and do, like, focus on other stuff?
Right.
And if you're good, you stick out the sport. If you're not the best, you go, well, we'll get rid of it and I'll find something else. So I think it's just, you reach that sort of moment where you're like, right, I'm going to keep at this, or fuck it, let's try something else.
Okay, so I guess the theory is that, like, after a certain age, if you're still doing it, it's less likely to be just for fun. It's much more likely to be, like, a serious commitment.
Yeah, like, it's because once you get older, there's tons of stuff you can do for fun. There's like so many different opportunities for you to just do other stuff.
Right.
But if like a guy who's, I don't know, in his mid-20s has been stuck doing the same thing since he was like 13, 14 years old, I would be shocked if he was bad at it.
I see.
Because at that age, if you're doing something for that amount of time and you're not good, I've got serious questions.
You ain't been trying, clearly.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. All these years for what?
You know, Ali, you're making a lot of sense. You're making a lot of sense. If you a 40-year-old basketball player, you're either, literally, this is just a random pickup game, don't really matter to you or something, but if you in a league, there's a reason you chose to be in that league and not the million other things you could be spending your time with.
Like, you should be like, if you're sacrificing time with your family and kids to come do this sport, you have to be decent. You can't be bad.
Yeah. At some point, it becomes impossible because, like I don't know, man.
Like
You spend so many time.
when I've got a family, and stuff, and I start doing bad at American football and all that, I'll be like, right, I'm done. Like, I'm going to do something else.
I agree. That is not.
I don't
Also,
want-
American
I don't want
football
my
is not
kids-
something you can play casually.
Yeah, well, fuck it, it's rough. I know what the most annoying thing over here is. I know people, the sports people always say it, but see the refereeing at our level, it is shockingly bad. Like, head-to-head contact, people grab face masks, people late hit, dive at your knees. It is a bastard. And the refs are just like, didn't see it, stop whining. It's like, okay, okay.
Just let them die, basically.
Because like I complained, but like I was playing defensive end, and the tackle on that side fucking grabbed my face mask, and like yanked me to the ground, and I threw like a bit of a hissy fit, saying like that he's hitting me, and he was just like, because I was number 66, like 66, get over it. I was like, oh, okay. So then I hit the guy, like completely wipe him out, and then I get flagged. Say stuff. Oh, yeah, go on, again. Oh, you bastard.
Can't have bad refs. That's how you have a bad game.
You say, where about you?
I'm over here, just, in the back, doing stock.
I hurt one, I didn't kill him though.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with checking the inventory. Alright, let me
How
get...
long does it take to do revives nowadays, man?
Okay.
I think they're pushing. Oh,
I'll be ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's fucking do it. I was using the wrong weapon. I didn't realize this thing isn't fully auto. Whoa, who is shooting? Oh, fuck! Oh!
Got one.
Oh, it's 3 of them. Holy shit. Oh, you got 2 of them. Last one, Ollie. Last one. They're hiding behind that pillar. I know you see them. They're right there. Wow, I pointed right past them. I'm gonna distract them.
What the fuck is that?
Bruh, like, they right there, bruh. They over there. What the hell? Was that a fucking tire? What was that? Ooh, this gold.
Oh, well, that shit was.
I think I want that. Save that for me. Alright, I'm gonna just chill right here. Uh-oh, something going on. Oh, they right there. Well, you probably see it. Oh, not. Yeah, you fucked them up.
Sit down. Sit down! Get off me!
This man, Ollie's still the same.
Now, see, if that was a middle-aged, if those 3 players were middle-aged men, get off the game. You suck. I'm sorry.
Ollie, how in the hell?
My man's got a legendary fucking mythic sniper, whatever the hell this is. Couldn't kill me.
I mean, you're not wrong. The quality of the player is so rarely determined by the quality of their weaponry.
Where's our guys? Let's get back
Yeah,
in.
let me see right there.
Storm's coming.
I got you.
Storm coming, Harry.
Let's get this boy the fuck up. Alright, now I'm trying to decide if I want to keep my main weapon, this twin mag assault rifle. I thought okay, so it is automatic, but it doesn't fire super quickly. I didn't realize that when I got involved.
So many guns that, since it's the new season, I just don't know what these guns do.
Right, exactly. I feel like this season is like brand new, like came out this week. I feel like, because I remember I opened up the Epic Games launcher or something and got like some notification saying, jump into the island, or, the regular shit. So I don't know what to say. It's new to everybody. Must be. Should ask my brother if he wants to play it with me sometime. It's kind of fun.
I got told off by my mate because we were playing Among Us, and his wee cousins joined the game. And he was like, just they don't not know swearing. They're like, just try and keep it to a minimum. I was like, yeah, of course, of course. And then one of the little bastards killed me, and then started like running around my body and just like trolling. And I was just screaming like, you bastard, just screamed it. Oh, here's Ali, shut the fuck up. You're not supposed to yell at the kids. So I was like, well, if yous are swearing, why can't I?
Ollie, I hate to say you did exactly what you're supposed to do. God damn it!
There's some kids sometimes just need sworn out. Get too big for the boots.
Every generation says it, but I feel like I'm old enough to finally say kids these days. I am the old man. I said I'd never be.
I realized I was getting old when I was coaching, and like I was speaking to one of the players, and he's like, "Do you realize you're 10 years older than me?" I was like, "Oh, dude, shut up, man."
Holy shit.
Don't say that, man. I'm gonna cry.
There are people in this world who are like, not like adults necessarily, but like there are people in this world who are like, you know, their brains are somewhat developed, and you're a decade older than them.
And the annoying thing is, one of the boys I coach, a slow Polish boy, he could batter me. Like, he could beat me up. So it's like, I was like, Jesus, you're 15.
I want to know what they eating, bro. They keep getting bigger.
Oh, this kid's definitely on steroids. I asked him, and he was just like, no, and he winked at me. I was like, right. As your coach, I'm supposed to say not to, but I'm going to pretend this conversation never happened.
Hey, man, if they on your team, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Well, I gave him a warning. When we went to the British finals, he was like, doing his stuff, and I was like, don't take anything for a month before the finals. He's like, why? It's like, people are just going to look at you and demand you get tested. If I was playing against you, I'm phoning the police to come get this grown man.
Police, get this adult man.
I'm not allowing my kids to go on a field against you. Like, it just does not seem fair.
Hell no. They not finna get fucking brain damage because this fucking 6'7", 13-year-old, 247 pounds decided, you know what, I'm just gonna throw some children around the field. Absolutely not.
One of the boys I used to coach, he's now playing in Canada. He was like a really tall kid and just sort of, he was a nice guy. And I thought, he'll do American football for a couple of years, then he'll fade away. But now he's playing in Canada, so I think what is he now? He's 6'7", 330 pounds. He's playing left tackle for some team. I don't know who they are.
That's so interesting. The Canadian Football League, that was where The Rock got started, I think.
Because if you're European, it's very tough to get into America. Like, you go to Germany. Germany's the best place in Europe to, like, highest quality level of playing. And then maybe someone from Canada, or depending on your age, maybe a college will come have a chat with you. But then it's very much like, if you yourself can commit to moving over here and getting a job and all that stuff, you can come play with us while you're doing that. So it's not really scholarships or anything.
I see. So it's like they're welcome to come, but it's not like they'll get some sort of welcome package.
Yeah. Like, I think it'd be like they'd help you out on showing you a place, but it's up to you to accommodate yourself.
I see.
If you're not going to the college, if you're going to join the college in the area, then they're not paying for your college tuition or anything. Like, it's on you. It's just quite amazing. So just be like, oh, we really want you to be a part of our program, but can you just sort of make your way over here? It's like, okay, I get no help.
Do you mind paying for your salary? We'd love to have you on this company.
Yeah, bro, come on. I like the game. I don't like the game that much.
I'm saying, shit. Even if I did, don't mean I can play it. Shit.
If you're good at something, you don't do it for free.
You know what? You're damn right. And speaking of which, it's interesting because when I think of, like, you know, professional, like, American gridiron football or whatever, I never even think about how many of those players are international. And it's probably because for the large part, I don't really think about football players the way I think about like NBA players or something. Because like when I think of NBA, like the NBA is very diverse in terms of like country of origin, nationality, things like that. Like we have a ton of Europeans, got some Africans, you know, players from Asia and the Pacific. Like it's not like, while it is dominated by, you know, natural born Americans, it's not.
You expect it though.
Yeah, of course you expect it, but they're far from the only people in the game, you know. And it's only, you know, it's only becoming even more diverse as time goes on, which is wonderful. Well, interesting in a certain way, in its own way. Ooh, hey, let's go get this thing here. Can I break the floor?
Oh, there's a guy near me.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, there's a team right at the bottom. I can't knock it down there.
Fuck.
My pen over you.
Get my shotgun smack you right there. How the hell do I get over there? But yeah, like I never think about Americans. Excuse me, I never think about
Yeah, they're pushing me.
oh shit! Wow, I just opened the door.
Oh no, they just killed the team down here.
Let's see what I can do here. All right, well, there's plenty of gold in here. Let me see. Anyway, yeah, that's interesting, and you know that goes back to another thing about sports. Depending on the sport, you'll have an easier time connecting to the players on a personal level. Of course, it's possible to connect with players of any sport. It's just not equally likely, in my opinion. In my very unprofessional, completely, you know, not rigorously tested opinion. And I feel like it's because for something like football, right, they wear helmets. And so you don't really get to see their face the majority of the time. You kind of just see their bodies like they're like armored soldiers or something. But in basketball,
You just go by their number.
Exactly. Whereas like in basketball, you can go by their number if you want to, but you can see their face, number one, and then number two, there are so fewer of them on a team. Like it's 5 versus 11. It's more than double on each team, so like, you know, it's just more to keep track of.
There's 2 of them. Yeah, I mean every like NFL clip I see, they always just go, oh, do this number whatever you are. Find this tree.
Ah! Damn!
Jesus.
That scared the fuck out of me.
Oops.
I'll stay with team. Yeah, y'all are just big muscles, whatever y'all are.
It's quite amusing, our league, because it's like when teams come up and have to play us, they're like, oh, we're going to the Scottish Highlands, they're gonna be big, massive, like farmer guys, and they come join us, and we've got like the big linemen, which is like 7, 8 of us, and then the rest are all really skinny, fast guys. I think we've got the youngest team in our league, like average age, because it's senior, so it's 18 plus, and I think our average age is like 23. Like we've got no old people. I think the oldest player we have is 29.
29. That's actually pretty young. The fact that there aren't any 30-year-olds, you know.
Nah, they all retired. They're all coaching now.
Oh shit, there you go.
Nah, we've got about I think 6, 7 guys that just like turned 18 before the season started. So we've got guys like the bare bottom age. So when we play teams that have like, you know, fucking full-grown adults, we're playing against dads. It's pretty surreal.
It's like people just out of college, just out of high school. You know what I'm saying? Just getting started.
They're hungover from the night before.
Versus people with like pensions.
Yeah. Like, we were getting made fun of by the other team because we were playing. We've got things like headers and volleys, where it's like it's normal football. Well, not normal football, it's soccer, I guess. And it's you can only score a goal if you head the ball in, or if you score before the ball touches the ground. And we were doing that with an American football. But this was like 15 minutes before a game, and the other team were just looking at us like, "What are these idiots doing?" And we're like, "Dude, we're just bored."
It's so weird to be this age because like I've actually started to look at younger people doing something similar the same. Not thinking, wow, these kids are stupid. But definitely, like, I don't know. Like, definitely, like, this isn't me or something. It's just different.
Yeah, you just think it's like, oh, I don't like the humor of this new age group. Then you think like, if I was younger, I would have found that really fun. But now I just can't be arsed with it.
Yeah, taxes break a man.
I mean, one of our linebackers got concussed because he tried to, like bottle flips. He tried to do that with the helmet, but landing it on his head perfectly. And that top of the helmet landed right on his head. He's like, oh no, coach, I can't play.
Holy shit. Ollie,
I was so angry. I was furious.
Ollie, I have to admit, I feel like that was easy to foresee.
Because when he was doing it, and like we were just like, he did it once, and in all fairness, he got really close. So we were like,
yeah.
oh, do it again. We were like, do it again. Give it one more go. And he did it, and it looked perfect. And then just bang, and his knees started buckling. It's like, oh no.
Just one, you know?
It was alright. He was only out for 2-3 weeks.
He was only
Lesson learned.
completely disqualified from playing the game because of a potential brain injury. You know, nothing serious.
We were playing dumb for him, and we didn't need him.
You know, Ollie, I hate to agree with some aspect of that. Oh, these turret things.
Oh.
I fought with this, actually. Oh. Yeah, I'll say, so those briefcases...
You know what game I've started?
Are you...
Go on.
Oh, shit! Why did that thing start firing?
Oh, you bastard.
Die! There we go. Well, this is definitely...
I recently started and completed, you know the game Detroit?
Yes.
I played it again. It's so good.
You know,
I
Ollie,
love it.
if you think that game is good, I will not make any attempt to change your mind unless you specifically
like
ask
it.
me to do so. It's not that I don't like it. It's that I actually, as a matter of fact, it's quite the contrary. I actually really like it. But it's like, oh, fuck, what did I do? Oh, Jesus Christ. Everybody get out. Ollie, I like the game, but I don't think it's good. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe I think it's good, but I don't like it. I'm not sure which it is. But it's like, I don't both like it and think it's good. That's the only thing I know for a fact. It's not both. And the reason I say that is because, number one, David Cage is a hack. He's absolutely a hack. He's a piece of shit director, a terrible writer, and just a buffoon of a man. And I'm not even trying to get, like, political when I say this. Like, he's not, like, canceled or anything. He's just not good at what he does. But he makes some incredibly successful games. Not necessarily good, but successful, right? And Detroit Become Human, I think, is his biggest crime yet. Because, and again, I like the game. It's like, it's such ridiculous, heavy-handed civil rights movement imagery. But he has to make the black people, like, not human. Again, and to be fair, it's not an uncommon thing to, like, portray different races and experiences of people as, like, you know, human stand-in. It's, you know, that's just the way literature works sometimes. On its surface, I don't think that's necessarily a problem. It's just that androids are the worst way to do it. Number one, because they're not human, and number two, because they're not, like, it's not just they're not human, it's they're not sentient organisms. And so, like, it's impossible for me to believe that human beings are discriminatory against machines, and machines have their feelings hurt by it. And he wants that to be like a stand-in for black people, but like black people are, you know, substantively harmed by that discrimination in a way that robots never will be, because they don't need to eat, they don't need to think, they don't need to sleep, they don't need money, they don't need love and affection or anything like that. They're like actual robots, you know, regardless of your opinion of artificial intelligence. That's just, they're not human with human needs. So even if you made them goblins or trolls or elves or any other stand-in, those are still like people, even if they're not human. Robots aren't people in the same way. And so, and that's just like the very surface level thing that's wrong with Detroit, because you can't empathize with the plight of someone who isn't suffering.
But I suppose it depends what you look at. I mean, they've got all the different character perspectives. It's not like just focusing on like one kind of people.
Fair.
But it's the whole like if in the future, because like, just if in the future, and then society comes to the point where they've got robots. What if these robots started developing human emotions? But I thought it was just like they were just going along those sort of lines, just like a sort of what if. But I never really saw it. Sort of, obviously, it has its own political stuff, but I never looked at it as a political one. I just went, "Oh, cool, robots wanting to be humans. Fucking let's go."
You know, we run into this problem often as a society, is people making art. It's like, okay, I think people universally have a very hard time understanding or having a really good workable definition for what is and isn't quote-unquote political, if you get what I'm getting at. And the reason why that's a problem is because I think, well, number one, you've heard a million of my rants before of how, like, when you call something political, it may not be intentionally so, but it's kind of a way of having to not worry about something, like, or not to not worry, but it's like, it's kind of like compartmentalizing an issue, because if it's just politics, it's not a real issue. For example, right, you likely wouldn't call our conversation about football political, because it's just, you know, two dudes having a chat about something, you know, regular in your lives, right? But you can call it politics from the outside looking in however you want to, and that changes the tenor of the conversation suddenly. Now it's not just an innocent conversation because it's labeled as politics. It almost changes the way you're allowed to talk about it and the way it's allowed to be perceived and discussed. And so when it comes to like civil rights or something, civil rights don't have to be a political quote-unquote topic. It's just kind of, you know, it's just human history. But if that's what you see as political, then like Detroit Become Human is unquestionably political. It is, and David Cage is a hack because he'll make stuff about the civil rights movement and then swear up and down that it's not about the civil rights movement, which is kind of like what they do, the Call of Duty developers. They'll be like, we're not making a political game or anything. Call of Duty can't be more political. It's literally like American imperialism, the video game. Like it doesn't matter if you see it or not. That it is, that's what it is. There is a pattern of behavior, a world order that those games normalize. And, you know, it's regardless of if you see it that way, that's just kind of what it does in effect.
It's always. Well, it's like when that Modern Warfare campaign when they said it won't be anything political. We're just doing a game, and then it's a couple. It came out a couple months after or a year or so after the terrorist threats in London.
Yes.
What happens in the campaign? A terrorist attack in London.
Literally.
I remember watching it, it's going, right, this is hitting a bit too close to home here. But
facts. Literally, I am so glad you were the one who brought up that example. First off, Modern Warfare, that new Modern Warfare, I love that game, love that campaign. It was amazing. It was
the campaigns are not great, but like,
yes.
I think just don't worry about it. See, like, if you're going to make it like that, just own up to it. Just say like, yeah, we're doing it like this.
Exactly. And that you're kind of getting at the point, Ollie, is that like you saying something is political versus not doesn't have to be a value assessment. Like it doesn't have to be this is good, this is bad because it's political, because it's not political. It's just a fact of nature. Like it is a thing, right? But the reason why those, you know, media trained developers are always on the defensive talking about it's not political, it's just a game about, you know, shooting people and stuff. The reason they do that is because they know they're 12-year-old fanboys. If they think of it as political, then all of a sudden, for some reason, they're turned off because they're like, oh, I don't want to think about politics, this, that, and the third, because or whatever. I just want to play my empty escapism or something. And like, you can't, and you can tell we don't do a really good job of like teaching people how to read art. Art is inherently political by the nature of its very being. Every time you tell a story, you're normalizing that story one way or another. You know what I'm saying? Like your video game isn't racist just because you have a racist character, right? But if your racist character is a hero, what are you saying about racism? If your racist character is the villain, what are you saying about racism? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's what makes a good game. Like, it's.
Yes.
You have to be able to manage all that. And I get like some games are like very much the person controlling it decides the fate of the characters and all that nonsense.
Right.
But it's like they need to have consequences if they do stuff a certain way. If you're gonna purposely make your person evil, they need to have very clear consequences for being evil.
Correct. Literally correct. And when it comes to games like Call of Duty, you'll have, missions where you're a British special agent hunting for an Islamic terrorist, I mean, I feel like I don't even have to say, like, what message is that sending to those impressionable 13-year-olds in middle school playing games? What stereotype is that reinforcing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to say it because you already know. You're intelligent enough to know. And so, like, it's kind of, and when it comes to, David Cage's games, well, not all of his games, but certainly Detroit Become Human, it's literally a game about civil rights. And he tries so hard to tell you that it's not so that he can sell more copies of the game to children. But when there's a moment in the game where you're literally marching for your rights and you can spray paint a fist on a wall, like,
yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? Like, but it's not political.
I know they give the option to decide whatever you want, but like as soon as the options are there, it's like, well, I've seen this before.
Thank you, Ollie. Thank you for being an intelligent human being capable of critical thought. Like, holy fuck. But anyway.
I also thought it was a bit weird where it's like, obviously the big civil rights for robots and all that stuff, but like, the character they picked to lead that.
Marcus.
Yeah, the only black character. While the white guy's trying to, control it all, and the girl's being a mum. Seems very like, come on, let's get some creativity going here.
That's fucking hilarious, Ollie. I didn't even think about that. You're absolutely right. The female robot is the caretaker of a child. The white robot is a cop, and he's black. I'm not gonna say he's not black. I mean, he's the lightest skinned black guy you'll ever see, and maybe that's as dark as David Cage will allow his protagonist to be or whatever. But that's a light skinned ass man. Anyway, but yeah, you're right. The black guy, the only guy who can qualify as black in any way, shape, or form, is the leader of the civil rights movement. Even though there's another black android, but the black android is like a criminal and he's like being detained because he accidentally killed this man. Whatever. I'm not even gonna unpack. I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not. I'm just gonna say you're absolutely right.
It was just very much like, come on, can we not like switch the roles around or something here? just
once, just
yeah. Like the characters were cool and all that. I still really like the game, but like, it's a good game to turn your brain off and just, but I don't know.
No, I agree. I feel like it is an enjoyable game to play, and I don't hate on anybody for enjoying it, consuming it in whatever way they want. It's perfectly fine to enjoy it and not think, and it's perfectly fine to enjoy it and think too much. I think I'm past the point in my life. I think I'm older and wiser. I'm perfectly fine. Just let people enjoy stuff. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever. I just think when people see it, like, you don't have to consume it through a political lens, but when people see a civil rights movement and then claim that the connection isn't there, when it is so obviously intentionally drawn, it's just cognitive dissonance. It's like you're trying to make it not political so that you don't have to think about it. But like, it can be political and you still don't have to think about it. Like, there's no obligation for you to get up and go step outside and go march, for somebody else's right. It's okay. You can absent-mindedly enjoy this. It's fine. Just admit that it is what it is. That's okay.
See, when you played it, did you go peaceful? Because I did it. Like the second I got the option, I was like, yeah, we're breaking shit here.
And fuck them up. What's odd is I've never played it. I've seen like several playthroughs of it, and I've seen like all the different endings and ways to go. If I had the option to play, you know, the first time I'd probably be peaceful, just because, I mean, as much as I like to argue, I don't like violence. I say as I play Fortnite, but I'd probably do that. That'd probably just be my personal approach if that was me in real life. However, yeah, bro. The second time, every time I get the option to kill somebody, I'm killing somebody. I'm not missing that.
I'm just a sucker for multiple choice games.
Same.
Like, I love it. Like, I just love knowing that because I used to play Assassin's Creed so much, so I'm used to so much like one-dimensional. If I mess up something, I can restart.
Right.
Like, as soon as I started playing games where it's like, you technically don't mess up, but you could have done it better.
Right.
And it's like, oh shit. So it actually makes me think about it more. Rather than just like watch it, like if a cutscene comes up, instead of just like looking on my phone or something, I actually have to listen to what's happening.
Yeah, it has consequences.
Yeah. Well, I did it. Remember, the Walking Dead games, the Telltale games? First time I ever played it, I was looking on my phone and stuff, and I knew it was multiple choice, but I was just looking away on my phone, and then I look up, and it's like, you know when like bloody the guy and the little kid, what's his name, Duck, are like both dying. You have to pick which one to save.
Yes.
I didn't save either of them. I wasn't looking at my phone. I was looking at my phone.
Bro!
I was like, oh shit! So I had to start again. Then my brother got annoyed at me. He's like, you can't start these games again. You just have to go with it. You got to sack whatever choice you make. You just got to deal with it. I was like, oh shit.
You know, that's interesting. You bring that up. There are like two equally real, relevant, valid challenges. Either the games where you have to restart, and the games where you can't restart. Yeah. That's so interesting. Like, yeah, both of those, their own challenges.
If I'm playing just a general game, it's like if I keep dying or something, or that, then I'll be like, okay, cool, I'm going to start again and do it this way. But if I'm playing a game where I, on my own choice, make the wrong choice,
right,
I feel like I shouldn't be able to start again. Exactly. Because I made the choice to mess up.
I completely agree. Like, even, like, okay, I'm not gonna lie. There's been, like, some very few moments where I've, like, cheated. Where, like, I've made the wrong mistake, but the consequences were I just could not handle it. Like, if my favorite character dies or something, I have to go back. I have to see if I can save her or something. Right? But usually, yeah, I agree with you. If something unfortunate happens and it's like, damn, well, let me finish this story, and then I gotta replay it.
Have you ever played like the Red Dead Redemption, the second one?
I have not finished it, but yes, I played it.
Oh, well, I don't want to give you spoilers, but like,
oh, shit.
Something happens, and then I was so like distraught by it, and then my brother, who's played it before, was like, "Oh, that happened to you? Oh, you didn't do that thing at the start of the game." I was like, "What are you on about?" He's like, "Well, you must have done this, which meant this happened." I was like, "Nah, fuck off, surely not." So I played the whole game again, just to find out it was unavoidable.
What?
Yeah.
Bro!
I messaged him, it was like, it happened again. He just sent like laughing emojis, like, did you seriously start again? I was like, yeah. He's like, you're an idiot. So I googled it, and it's like, it's impossible to not avoid what happened.
Oh fucking god.
It's like, you bastard. You fucking bastard.
Ollie, I know I just said I'm a man of non-violence, but I think you have to fight him. I think you gotta drag him into the street and do something like that.
Despite my size, he is bigger and stronger.
Forget literally everything I just said. I am not a source for good advice, but I am a source for
I tried.
advice.
When I was like training and all that, I felt confident. And then I remember lifting him up, but then he realized I got stronger. And he kicked me so hard on my shin, and I crumbled. I'm pretty sure I still have a dent in my shin from when he kicked me. Yeah. It was unreal. He fights dirty now. He has to. It's the only way he can beat me. Like scratches me, bites me. So it's just not fair.
It's not a compliment. If you think about it, it's like in order to beat me, you have to pull out all the special moves, the
Oh well,
Kaioken.
I've got to get a jump on him to start with though. Like if he starts it, I'm done. I have to know what's about to happen. I have to land the first hit.
Ooh, I got this.
Otherwise it's the ropes.
Also,
So
random. I got
same
this
with
card.
my sister. He's got a car.
I got the card for this NPC. If you want to do this,
What was that?
this thing.
Hold on, Molly. I've got like all this see, you know how people get like NPCs following them?
Yes.
I got no idea how to do that.
Oh, okay. So, I think it's different for each NPC, but some of them you just go up to them and like you press X or whatever, and it gives you the option to hire them.
You have to like
Oh, that's cool.
you have to pay them.
I think so. Yeah, you pay him with gold. Also, so you kill this guy, you go into the lair or whatever. Very nice, very cool. You go into the lair and like there are all these guns in these display cases. You choose one to steal, and then all of the other ones instantly become unavailable, and then the alarm comes on. Just for future reference, in case we get fucked up like that again sometime later.
Wait, you're underground. How the hell did you get there?
You're asking all the right questions, Ollie. What is this? Let's see.
Oh, you bastard. Why am I getting NPCs attacking me? Go away, sir. Go away.
Oh, this gun is fucking hard. Yo.
How did you get down there?
Okay,
Oh, wait,
so
is it?
there are
Oh, I
some.
think I found it.
Yeah, there are double doors you have to go through. Apparently.
Yeah, area's all red and stuff.
Yes, it is.
Oh, there's
It
a big
sure is.
cage, I think. Oh, I can break it. Oh, wow. Going FORTNITE.
Not be trapped. Oh my gun.
You can break it.
Oh shit. Never mind. Fuck it.
Oh, well.
I'm like, oh well, there's my whole life. The game's over. I'll get this gold gun.
Oh, hell
My last thing I'll say about Detroit, because I feel like I think I missed one of my points. I got distracted by this gun. Is that like the problem with it is that like knowing that the connection to the civil rights movement is like unmistakable, undeniable, right? It is an allegory for the American civil rights movement, right? That in and of itself is fine, and it's perfectly fine to tell a story about an allegory to that historic moment. As a matter of fact, there should be more. I think it's an amazing, interesting moment in human history, you know, should be studied more. It's cool, right? The fact that they make that connection is not the problem. The problem a lot of times what people have is like they want to tell a story about the experience of black people. What the fuck? What did you just do?
I don't know. This is a new gun here. You can give it a go.
You know what?
How do I drop this?
You're asking all the right questions.
Fucking hell. Alright, there you go.
Don't steal my gun. I want to use it one time. Alright.
I held on to it.
Oh shit! That is insane. I
Yeah,
see why it takes
I
fucking
did.
20 seconds, 30 seconds to load up again.
Oh,
But
there's
yeah,
another one here. I'm just gonna kill this one.
if you set out to tell a story that is an allegory for the experience of a minority group, 9 times out of 10, it's just better to use characters from that group and not a stand-in from that group. And there are plenty of reasons why you would use stand-ins, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's perfectly fine the way Tolkien, you know, he wanted to use Lord of the Rings. He created Lord of the Rings because he said white people had no culture, no mythology, and so he made one. And then he used all these different, you know, fanatical races, you know, standing for different cultures and people, you know. And it's not perfect, you know. They're like, what? Oh shit! All right, fuck it.
Yeah, I got nailed.
Literally same. And like, it's not perfect, but I get it, and I think it's fine. And I mean, Lord of the Rings is like one of my favorite fictional universes ever. Love it, right? I think there are ways to do it right and there are ways to do it wrong. And Tolkien did it right, as best as I think I've seen it done, as best as you can do it. If I'm wrong, I hope the internet corrects me for it. And then there's David Cage, who always gets it wrong. And the reason why he gets it wrong... Oh, what'd you say?
Oh, Tolkien, like, he made a world where almost every race hated each other, but made it work.
Yes.
Like, because he gave strengths and negatives to each one, and eventually concluded that they all needed each other.
Right.
So, like, and that took, like, fucking effort to do. That most writers and all that stuff just go, like, you don't like each other, something big's gonna happen, then you have to like each other, but then you'll realize you've always liked each other. The end.
As when Gimli says, at the Black Gate, I'm gonna have to paraphrase, he was like, never thought I'd see the day, or something like, die alongside an elf, and then Legolas is like, what about a friend? Man, touches me.
I'm like, fucking, see if those made today, there'd be no build up to that scene. They would just say it at the end, and you just have to figure out yourself, why did he say that? I was like, oh yeah, because they're different. And you gotta figure it out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Hold on, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. There you go.
That Lord of the Rings series is the hottest piece of shite I have ever watched. That, alongside The Witcher, I am gobsmacked how they've ruined two of my favorite things.
You know, Ali, I'm glad you bring that up, because I think Rings of Power is such a good example of something that I know is bad, that I unfortunately kind of enjoy. And I have to admit, I probably enjoyed it because I think I was high the entire time watching it. And it was just so fucking colorful.
Ooh, these guys look weird.
Bro, me and Luda were fucking watching it when it came out several months ago, right? And we were watching it hand to hand with like House of the Dragon, right? And I watched House of the Dragon completely sober, dead focused, you know, analyzing every single frame and scene. And it was fucking immaculate, right? Just great. A really well-deserved follow-up to the bullshittery that was the end of Game of Thrones. I liked it and I want more. They fucked up a lot of things and they forced, like, you know, cast turnover and, like, you know, time skips because of all the production problems. But god damn it, with what they had, they put together a really good season, right? And then there's Rings of Power, which I think I probably started watching completely sober and then realized I cannot do this anymore. It's like, it's so campy and goofy.
I was so excited. Like, I was like, oh my god, and you hear it, it's like the most budget Amazon have ever had in a series, and you're like, yes, and you see the actors who's going to be in it, it's like, yes, come on. And then they fucking release what they look like, and I'm like, what? I was like, what? Okay, Galadriel, that's fine. I thought they picked a good actress for that. I didn't have any worries about her. And then I found out who fucking Sauron was, and I was like, right, I might kill myself the way they've just done this, because this is so inherently wrong, it blows my mind. How are we supposed to make the Galadriel seem like a cool, badass, super smart character, where she's literally fancied Sauron the whole fucking time and never noticed he was evil? Like, come on, man, give yourself peace.
There's an alternate timeline where they do that correctly, and it's 1 out of a billion, right? It's not in 999 million universes it goes wrong, just as it's supposed to. But I've got just enough creativity left in my mind to think that there is a literarily compelling narrative that you can tell where Galadriel, who is so hell-bent on getting revenge for what happened to her brother, hating Sauron so much, being so blinded by her hatred and her quest for revenge that she can't see the evil right in front of her. Like, there is a poetry to it on paper, but goddamn, this show didn't get it right.
See when she jumped out of the ship going to the Grey Havens, and then that random ship comes out of nowhere with all these random people, and then Only her and him survive. I'm sitting watching it with my sister, and she, while eating, just goes, "That's gonna be fucking Sauron, I bet you." I was like, "You know what? You're probably right. You're probably right. It's gonna be him, but I'm gonna refuse to believe it because it'd be so stupid if that's him. He's so stupid. Like, why is he there? Why is he at that area? He shouldn't be there."
He shouldn't be
I was like, "Nah, it can't be." And then when they were building the rings, my sister's like, "Ali, it's Sauron." I was like, no, I refuse to believe it. He's just a dude. He's just a dude. He'll die at some point. He's just a dude. And then fucking the scene comes up, it finds out he's Sauron, they're sitting by the water. And it's like, "Oh my god, you tricked me." I remember just pausing it, and me and my sister was like, "Oh dude, I don't want to watch this anymore." I don't know if I have it in me.
Ollie. Oh, hey, Ashley. I'm hearing some feedback with your sound right now. God damn it. So maybe that was what you were hearing, Ollie.
Potentially.
Let me unplug my cord and plug it back in. But let me get to a safe place first. Yeah, Ollie, I'm glad you mentioned that because, again, was not sober when I was watching it. And you know something funny? Everybody caught it but me. I didn't catch it, and I have to admit, maybe if I was like very crystal clear when I watched it, I probably would have noticed it like every goddamn body else. Like, because everybody called it like 2 or 3 episodes in. It was not a surprise to anybody but Marquise for some reason. But I was like equally disappointed. It was the episode where it was revealed, where I was like, wait a minute. Everyone on Twitter is trying to find out who Sauron is. It can't be this person for this reason and that reason. It can't be that guy for those reasons. Is it maybe this guy that they keep saying is the king? No. Really? Is it? I mean, it would kind of make... No, it wouldn't make any sense. But it would kind of... But no, it wouldn't. Would it kind of... And then it happened. And then I'm sitting there and I go on Twitter. And everybody's like... This is a crime. This can't...
Honestly,
it can't be.
My sister has
Rings
a
of power,
blanket
Ashley.
of the full map, the full Middle-earth map. And we were like, right, get the map. And we had the map out, and we were like, right, they met here, pretty much the top left of the map. They're literally leaving the map, basically. And they meet there. He claims he's the king of this area that's on the other fucking side of the world.
On another continent!
How did he get there? Why is he there? And if they made it seem like Sauron's really smart, his spies found out Galadriel was going to the Grey Havens, and he just knew she wouldn't do it. That'd be cool, and it makes Sauron seem really smart. I get that. But they didn't. They just had a guy. They just had a guy show up. Like, just this long-haired dude. I was like, oh, who is this guy?
I hit new team, by the way.
You know the guy who plays Elrond? That annoys me. Because the actor, before they do makeup and all that stuff, looked more like a young Elrond before they changed what he looked like to look like young Elrond. Like his hair and all that stuff. He already looked like him, and they changed him.
He got a real sharp face, too.
Yeah, he's a handsome man.
I agree.
But it's still one of those things where it's like, I know elves are supposed to be these glamorous, all-looking people, but they're also badasses. Like, they're also really badass. He's just a bit of a...
Looks like a dweeb, you know?
Yeah, he just moans and complains.
Yeah, and like, Elrond, again, literally, quite literally, well, I was gonna say, no, I guess Gandalf is like the savior of the Battle of Helm's Deep. But Elrond is among the many heroes. Like, without him,
he is.
Like, they would have died so many times. I mean, like, Elrond is such a central character for not just one movie, one book, one narrative. I mean, centuries from the second to third age, right? And they made him look like, you know, just some nerd. Again, no offense to nerds, nerd myself, but I am not the same as what Elrond is supposed to be.
Yeah, because, like, he's quite literally the reason they won, because he gave Aragorn the sword to get the fucking army of the dead.
You're fucking
like, it was him that did that.
And he reforged it!
Yeah, he did the graft. He made it. And unless in some future season they turn Elrond, something big happens to him, and he turns to this real badass, just like, no-nonsense kind of guy. I just don't know. And I am getting sick to death of the dwarfs being Scottish. Like, oh, can we please move on from that? I want to be something else.
Ollie, oh my goodness, I am so glad that you're a victim. Because
Oh no, most of the time it's all good. I was happy being Gimli. I'll happily take Gimli. I don't want to be dwarves anymore. Like, why would I want to be them?
I like and that's the thing about Scottish people is that Scottish people are unique among people in in the UK. Well, not in the UK because the UK includes a whole bunch of people of color, but among people in the British Isles. The Irish and the Scottish, they really get it. Like, you really understand the idea that, like, no, not every dwarf is gonna look like have red hair necessarily. But, like, you know that there's supposed to be a stand-in for the Scots in one way or another, which I think makes it easier for you to understand that, like, you know, the idea that, like, you know, the evil people are really dark and they're far from the West or anything like that, which is, like, one of the criticisms and stuff. But I'm just glad that you get the concept, but also, I feel you. I empathize.
Like, I don't mind it because, like, well, the main dwarf was Gimli back in the day, and the actor who plays him is Scottish, so I get that. But then when you've got actors who aren't originally from Scotland having to put on a Scottish accent because they're a dwarf, I don't get it.
It's like there aren't enough Scottish people.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I've only seen one dwarf-sized person in my life, and that was a terrible experience. So.
Some of us in the chat are very familiar with that part of your lore.
I'm sure they're doing fine, but yeah, I would just, oh my god. The way they did Gandalf almost made me send in a complaint. I almost signed, you know, those stupid Reddit things where it's like, get these signatures to force them to reshoot. I was so close to putting my name on that.
Ollie,
like,
okay, Mike wants to know about, well, no, Ollie will tell you in his own time, Mike, but I agree with you about,
wait, what?
He wants to know about your Instagram.
Oh, yeah, You
sure if you want?
We'll see how the stream goes. It's not one of my proudest moments.
I get you. We'll see how it goes. Mike, stay tuned. This will be what keeps you in the chat, Mike.
Horrific. But when they made Gandalf, and it's like, that wizard, again, it was the same thing, me and my sister watching it, it's like, we were like, I remember saying to her, like, Ken, is that going to be Gandalf? And she's like, no, it can't be, it's the wrong time period, he doesn't show up till later on.
Literally!
Like, oh, okay. And then he made that quote right at the end, where it's like, always got to follow your nose. And then I remember her just, like, putting her drink down and just, like, sitting in a big huff, and I was like, what is it? It's like, that's Gandalf's quote. I was like, oh no, please tell me you're lying. And she showed me it in the book. And I was like, oh my god.
So the thing about Gandalf is I predicted that it was gonna be him. I was like, it can only be him. He's like literally a wizard, you know what I'm saying? But then I thought about it and I was like, no, maybe he's like a Balrog. You know, not all the Balrogs look like the one in the Mine of Moria. You know, some of them, they're not all like Durin's Bane or whatever. Some of them are like people-looking things. And I saw a lot of theories that like supported that, or at least I watched a lot of videos that supported that particular theory from time to time, and that I felt like that would at least, well, it wouldn't make sense narratively, but it would at the very least, it's not fucking Gandalf. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, Gandalf wasn't the first wizard to land. Like, the blue wizards were there and all that stuff, and then Gandalf's mentor was in Middle-earth before Gandalf even landed. So I was like, maybe it could be his teacher or something, maybe.
Maybe.
The second that quote was done, like, it was just like, oh, it is. It's fucking Gandalf.
Unambiguously.
The writers and all that were so desperate to just get all the characters in straight away. Like, in the space of 2 seasons, they've jumped like 100 years in the lore.
Yep. And you know why they did it? Because fucking capitalism. God damn it! It's like you can't. It's always just sacrificing at the altar of profits. It's like we need to stuff as many big names and big characters in this as possible, so we have to so we can force people to watch it.
Yeah, that's just when you know it's good. Like, because they'll look at it and be like, if we take too long, people are going to get uninterested, and something else might come up which captures other people's interest, or we might not get as many viewers. But then, if you don't do it right and follow the correct format, the people that were your fans are going to be pissed off that you're not doing it right.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like same with see when the Witcher series was coming out, and then like the director, I don't know her name, then she said she like Ciri, Yennefer, Triss, and all that, they're gonna have just as big a part as Geralt. The Witcher then, if it's not gonna, and they're cool characters, don't get me wrong, but I want to watch The Witcher do Witcher stuff. I don't want to have people sitting around chatting all the time.
You know, better. Does that sound better, Mike and Ashley? I have a what may be an unpopular opinion in defense of unfaithful adaptations. Oh no. No.
Oh, right. I was gonna say it.
Okay, oddly enough, I did really enjoy the first season of The Witcher. I have not seen a single frame of the show since.
I really liked the first season. I loved the little twist they did at the end, of how it all connected. I thought that was really cool.
Me too. And the thing is, it made me feel stupid because I thought I was the only one who didn't get it.
Well, I was a bit like, wait, what's going on here? And I clicked in my head, it's like, oh, that's what they done. And I had to watch it all over again.
Right. Exactly.
And then just, the second season was so bad, and I was like, oh. And then I just kept saying to myself, it can't get worse. Like, they'll fix it. People say negatives about it, and they'll fix it. And the new season came out, and I was just like, what the fuck is this?
They won't
and
fix
my brother, who's also a Witcher fan, was like very much like, so this monster slayer so far has killed 4 monsters in 3 seasons. I was like, oh,
wow,
Jesus.
I didn't even think about that. So like I don't. Who did he kill in the first season? Because that would have been the only one I was witnessing.
He killed that weird he killed that big tentacle creature at the start, and then I mean he kills all those people in Blaviken, which is where he gets his nickname from. So it's all very lore correct. And then he killed that.
Oh shit! Ollie, I just got.
Oh Jesus!
I mean, they blew my brains out. Holy fuck!
Mate, there's a fucker behind me. Go away, man.
I think that's how they got us that last game, Ollie. That gun in the lair. It's like a one hit type of thing. What the fuck is this?
Why does this game turn into COD? Like, why do snipers have like a lens? Like, why can I see them?
Yeah, like the lens flare. That shit's crazy.
Yeah.
Why
have I got that?
Absolutely new team. That was insane. Yeah, I agree with you. When it comes to I think that there is a space for faithless adaptations, as long as they are, as with all things, as long as they are well done, respectfully done, if there is care put into it. I'm not one of those people, and maybe I got radicalized by Harry Potter. As someone who has not yet read the books, I'm reading the first one and then I'll listen to the ones after that. As someone who has not yet read the books, it was always incredibly annoying for me growing up, hearing people watching the movies. I was a fan of the movies, hearing Harry Potter kids always talk about this isn't like the book, or this different and this is different or whatever. And everybody has a right to complain. Them complaining is not the problem. It's annoying on just on an intellectual level for people to think that something is inherently worse because it's different. And there are so many different ways to adapt something and change it and make it different and it be wonderful. And I feel like you really don't have an example that's more prolific than comic books. You have so many different iconic storylines, story arcs or whatever over, certain issues, and then you adapt in the film or whatever. It's like the Batman that you see in The Dark Knight or in the Matt Reeves Batman with Robert Pattinson. Those stories don't have to exist in the fucking comic books for these movies to exist. It's okay to change it.
I have nothing against remakes of stuff, because if it's the exact same thing, it's very much seen it. I get that. But when these directors are making something, And then, like, say like The Witcher and the Lord of the Rings Amazon. When Peter Jackson goes, here, I don't like this, and they still release it, there's something going on. The writer of The Witcher didn't even get asked his opinion on any of The Witcher stuff before it got released. So when I see stuff like that, it's very much like, I shouldn't expect what I've already liked about whatever is being made, because it's going to be nothing like that.
Right.
And if it gets really good, fair play, whoever made it will get their credit and all that stuff. But if it's bad, they have to take ownership that it's bad.
And, you know, I feel like it's not easy to make something good, and there is a moral quandary of, like, invoking the name of a beloved franchise, like The Lord of the Rings, and then not respecting the lore. Like, there are certain things that you'll just have to change because the medium is different, sure. And then there are certain things that you can change for simply creative reasons. Nothing wrong with that. But, like, there is a reason that certain things in a story happen the way they happen, because they have a certain narrative importance, or they have a certain philosophical necessity or something. And when you don't understand that, when you don't respect the source material, it's like it makes it difficult to change things and still get it right.
Yeah, like, the only reason they're making the remake of this thing in the first place is because it's successful. So why go so far off it?
Right. That's a good point. That's a good question.
Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, and especially with, like, the Lord of the Rings. Some Lord of the Rings fans have been waiting bloody 20 plus years for anything, just anything to do with the genre. And then you go, oh, this is the largest budgeted series ever made, and all that stuff. It's taken years and years to be made. And, like, you build up all that hype just to go, by the way, we've not watched any of the films, and we've kind of skimmed the book, so we kind of know what's going on.
Jesus fuck.
And you're just like, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm calling it going into the next season. You know, near the end of Game of Thrones, where they just chucked in celebrities like Ed Sheeran and stuff.
Bro, what the fuck was that about? Yes.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings are gonna do that shit. I just know it. Fucking Lizzo is gonna be in Lord of the Rings. I'm calling it right now.
She's a Star Wars too, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Yep. She's gonna have her fucking face in every single thing. I know it.
And I would argue Lizzo being in a thing should not make me not want to watch the thing. I have nothing against Lizzo, assuming those allegations against her, are not true. But that being said, there are certain people who are just too fucking famous for things that aren't acting, to where they should be kind of like disqualified for being in certain productions. And I know that may be popular, that may be unpopular, might be a hot take. I will die on that hill. Ed Sheeran, who, like, traditionally is not known as an actor, does not operate in the Hollywood space, should not be in Game of Thrones, because it completely ruins your suspension of disbelief. The immersion is broken.
Yeah, like, I don't mind the little cameo. Like, see if it's like showing a scene where, like, there's like a pub, and then he's singing, and it's like a half second panning shot, and you see it. And then, like, the keen eye, someone posts on Twitter, oh my god, that was Ed Sheeran. Right. And you don't see him in the credits or anything anywhere. He doesn't speak or nothing. That sort of stuff, I think, is quite cool, because it's a little Easter egg.
Yeah!
But when you give him fucking 20-25 minutes speaking of Arya about fucking her morals and all that stuff, it's like, who are you? Who is this random man?
Who the fuck is this guy?
Ed Sheeran, I don't care about your opinion on the Game of Thrones matters, please.
So dead ass right. Holy shit. And I think one of my professors back in school had a really good point. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but it still bears saying. You can't break the rules well unless you know the rules, and that's kind of what's happening for, like, Lord of the Rings. It's like, if you want to depart from the source material, do it if you can do it right. But if you haven't read the books, you haven't watched the movies, you don't understand where the franchise is right now and where the franchise has been in the past, then how can you expect to do a decent recreation of it? You're not even making the thing.
Like, I bet they probably just looked at what was the peak watching moments in the series. Like, what's the bit everyone went, oh yeah, and kept watching it in the movies. And they go, right, let's just do that. So like when people, they go like, oh yeah, the big battle at Helm's Deep and, you know, the reinforcements coming to save the guys, everyone watches that, so let's have that in on episode 3. It's like, no, we need some build up here. We need to know why this is all happening. If you just do a big battle straight away, I'm lost. I don't know who to support.
Yeah, you literally had to wait an entire movie and then some before you got that in the movies.
Yeah. Like, you have to earn it.
Yeah, and see, that is the corporatization of art is the problem. And you're really speaking to people like me, people in my line of work, you know, the analysts, the marketers, the people who have to take the lowest common denominator and dilute it into something actionable. You know, that's when the exec plays too heavy a hand in the writing. And they're like, look, man, we put $750 million into this show. It really has to be good, and in order to make sure it's good, just whatever it is they like from that, just put it in there and then triple it, quadruple it if you have to. Like, no, bitch, that don't work. That's not how art is.
Like, one of my favorite shows was, like Prison Break. It's so much build up for one really big anti-moment, and it's like, then it just goes back down, then it's build up. Like, you sort of get, like, you and the characters in it are both together building up to that moment. But in, like, Lord of the Rings, like, when it reached the end and the village was getting attacked and stuff, and then the army are still in the boats getting to Middle Earth, you think, shit, they're not going to make it. Like, they're just not going to make it. But then they do a complete time lapse, don't do any build up to them getting there. They just go, oh, horses are here, and then they win. And you're just a bit like, okay, cool, okay, I guess we won. Like,
Fuck.
woo.
Oh, you talking about when the Numenorians arrive in Middle Earth?
Yeah, like, the orcs are just about to destroy the village. Somehow this one elf is beating all of them. And then the Numenorians come and the horses, which I don't understand how they got the horses across, but that's a different matter on its own.
Completely different. Holy shit.
And then it's like, oh, don't worry, we've won. But the one guy we needed to stop, damn it, he got away. It's like, oh, what a fucking shock, oh. Like, what is this? Like, they catch Sauron and it's like, yeah, we've stopped all his plans. And then I'm thinking, like, well, why are we even having this scene? Because we know he does it. We know it goes further than this. So why are we pretending he's about to die? And then this random old geezer is going, yeah, I'll fucking connect the sword. I'll do it myself. Like, who is this old man? Who is this man doing it? Why is he getting this moment? Then the big volcano goes off and it's like, okay, cool, that's being made. Oh no, the ashes just hit Galadriel and it's all disappeared and gone black. Oh, I wonder if she made it out. Oh wait, I know this. She's fine.
You know, I have to. Yeah, I guess that's one of the problems with the prequel, is that, like, if you've seen the earlier material that takes place later in the timeline, some things you just can't really build suspense for, because Frodo literally fucking meets Galadriel, so she can't die here. You know what I'm saying? Not permanently, at least. So I guess that's just...
She gets up to all kind of business before she even gets close to dying. She decides to basically kill herself at the end.
Yeah.
No one kills her.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm not just now thinking about it. Again, I watched this. I was high off my ass when I saw that episode, because I was actually really looking forward to that episode. I like the way you say shattered slabs, by the way. Shattered slabs. I'm sorry, I have a terrible Scottish accent. Anyway, I was
saying what?
Nothing. I was super excited for that episode, bro. I was like off my ass. Because at the end of the episode before, like, everything you're saying about what's wrong with that episode is true objectively. Unfortunately, I still enjoyed it, and I especially enjoyed the end of the episode of that lame ass fucking stupid ass battle with the surprise Numenorians. when the volcano exploded, just because that moment made no narrative sense, but I think it was so cinematic. It was so, it felt so desperate because I'm thinking if I'm in that moment, I'm sitting in that town and a fucking volcano goes off that I can see, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, I'm fucked. That's it. That's the end of my story. And I was so interested to see it, but then the next episode comes on and it happens, and then it's over, and then everything else is just back to disappointment.
Like, it was a very pretty series. Like, it was very cool. I had no problems with like visuals or anything like that.
Yeah, the cinematographer did their job.
Yeah, they did the best they could. The makeup artists did it great. Like, I don't really like the Numenorian armor, but like, I think technically that's how it was supposed to look, so I won't complain about it. But like, when there's just like moments and it's like when Galadriel's doing all her stuff, there's no like, oh yes, they finally did it. It's more just like, okay, so what's happening now? There's no real reward because it's too early. It's too early to have those moments in the series.
Yeah, it's like there's a payoff every episode, which is makes it not a payoff at all.
Yeah.
You know, female characters, especially like heroic, powerful female characters, get a lot of like sexist bullshit type of criticism. I think Galadriel in this interpretation of her, it's one of those examples where I think it is kind of deserved because she is kind of OP. You know, like there's no threat that she faces that she can't immediately overcome, but at the same time, they dumb her down to the point where like she's super powerful, but she's not wise at all. She makes a lot of dumb mistakes.
Yeah.
And is so easily fooled, and it's like that's such a betrayal of her character.
Because like the very first episode, you instantly gauge what she's like. Like, her people are complaining, like, they want to go home, it's a failed mission, but she is so bent on her goals. She's like, no, we are doing this. So you instantly go like, right, she's ruthless, she has to do what she's got to do.
Exactly.
But then, instead of making the guy who's Sauron seem smart by tricking her, they instead make her seem dumb by falling for it. So it's her going like, oh, how could I be so stupid, rather than, oh, I've been tricked.
Right. Like, Sauron doesn't even seem smart. He just seems like he's just random.
Seems like pot luck. Like, everything that happens, like, he gets arrested in Numenor and all that stuff, and then he gets released, and he's just like, oh yeah, thanks. So it's like, it's just absolute pot luck he's made it this far.
Mm-hmm.
He should always be one step ahead of people, and then at the end, they make it seem like he was. Oh yeah, I've tricked all of you into making these rings and all that stuff. It's like,
no, you did.
Did you know they were going to anyway? Like, they were making it and told you to go away so they could make it. You didn't trick them.
Yeah, it's like he has no agency. He goes from being like, you know, completely random character, shows up inexplicably in a place he's physically not supposed to be, and then he just kind of stumbles around and does everything he can to become uninvolved in the narrative. For all intents and purposes, he tries to not be involved in any of the actions of any of the other characters. He just kind of wants to be left alone. And then through the inexplicable stupidity of a lot of his other characters, they themselves increase his importance. It's like, this is just a random guy who showed up on a piece of driftwood in the middle of the ocean. Why are we now just believing he's this random king from this lost place in Middle Earth? Why is he on this ship with us? Why are we letting him out of prison? Like, why are we doing anything? And also, nothing that we're doing for him is a result of anything that he's made us do. It's like the things that happen to him are completely independent of his own decisions. So it's like he doesn't seem smart. He just seems lucky as hell.
Yeah, like, when it's the whole, like, so, like, initially when they say, like, oh yeah, he's the king of that area, Galadriel just guessed, and he went, yeah. It's like, he didn't say it, it's like, yeah, I don't think so, yeah.
Totally.
And then she's like, no, you're the king, you're gonna be the king. And then then when they get there, it's like, present your new lost king. Why is not one civilian, my sister said this, like, why is not one person that lives there goes, here, I don't know who this guy is, he's never been here. Like, I've never seen this guy in my entire life, and
Who
I've
the
lived here
fuck
my
is
whole
this guy?
life. Yeah, it's like, who the fuck is this dude? We don't have a king, bro. Like, we're not a kingdom. We're just a bunch of people. But
Literally
they
a
went,
village.
but they all just went, you know what, elf woman I've never met? You're absolutely right. That's now our king.
They
It's
made
like, what?
Made them seem so stupid.
Yeah, it's like, I get like being gullible and all that stuff, and like let's make the characters seem smart and being trick and like mischievous rather than it being just, oh yeah, you're this. Okay, cool, and then they're that.
Yeah, what would have made a difference is if this man came to Numenor claiming to be this king. You know, regardless of if he thought, you know, Galadriel was there, right? If Galadriel had gotten there for reasons that were completely separate from him, and then he shows up in Numenor specifically trying to convince them that he's his king and he needs their help to put him back on the throne to save the world from this darkness, from Morgoth and everything. You know what I'm saying? Cool.
Yeah.
There's some agency, there's an intent behind it. And they're like, no, I don't believe you. Prove it to us. Why would we believe you? This makes no sense or something. And Galadriel's like, who the fuck is this random? I don't care about him. He means nothing to me or whatever. And then he actively does things that convince these people. They're like, you know, maybe he is who he says he is. Like Aragorn had to do time and time again. Like nobody just kind of believed him offhand. Like, yes, I am the heir to the throne of Arnor and Gondor, you know, Isildur's heir and all this other stupid shit, you know what I'm saying? He had to prove it. This man was battle tested from day one. And this other guy just kind of fucking shows up and they're like, I mean, he said it, so it must be true.
Yeah, it's like that would be a great way to introduce them. That's how they meet. Like, Galadriel can't go back to the elves because she ditched the Grey Havens and she's basically being ousted because you're not allowed to do that. So she goes to Numenor, tries to get help to go back to the elves. And then she bumps in, like, she overhears Sauron speaking to the Queen, demanding help. And then that's when it's like, oh yeah, let's work together and we can both get what we want. And then, even if he gives, like, a little secret, it's like, oh, you're this woman, because everyone knows who Galadriel is. She's basically like a god in that world.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, I know you. I know you're trying to hunt down Sauron. I'll help you find him. He's at this place. I know where he is, because I'm the king of the area where he's invading. And she's like, yeah, shit, that's a great idea. And then that's a great way to do it. Instead of it being like, oh no, I'm just a normal bog standard guy. I've got nothing special. And Galadriel goes, know what? I'm gonna make you the fucking king.
Literally.
It's like, what?
I can't remember.
Did
he claim to be king, or did she claim, or did she decide? I can't remember exactly how it happened.
She claimed, like, they were just, I'm pretty certain they were just chatting away.
Yeah.
And then she goes like, oh, where are you from? All that stuff. And he's like, oh, I'm from this area. And it's like, my people are long gone. All that stuff. War torn. We don't really have a leader. And then she just goes, like, you were a king once. And he just looks at her.
Like.
And he's like, you were a king once. It's like, you were betrayed by your own people. And he just goes like, yeah. So, yeah, sure.
Like,
Like, yeah.
exactly.
That's exactly it. You hit the nail on the head there, mate. Well done.
Like, it makes her seem so fucking dense that she gave it away. She gave Sauron the idea, and that's so stupid. Like, it would be so, like, first off, you had a great idea. It would be so much better if this man, this random dumbass idiot, is trying to convince the Númenóreans and Galadriel to help them in their quest to do something. Like, it would only make sense if Sauron appears with a plan and then runs into all these different complicating factors that he has to find a solution for. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't get to Middle Earth. He needs to help with the Númenóreans. Númenóreans don't trust him. Galadriel steps in and is like, oh, he's trying to do the same thing I'm trying to do. You know, you can trust me. I'm literally, you know, the hero of the War of Wrath. You can trust the words I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying?
And it helps her character as well, because she's so hell-bent on getting Sauron, she'll do anything to find him.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it just, all of that just would make so much more sense than just, like, I don't even fucking remember how they got there. I'm almost certain they got there by luck.
And you know what, Ollie? these great ideas that we're having, that we should definitely, you know, we should ourselves rewrite as the narrative. None of that is in the book. Like, this is where you can take creative liberty, make a departure from the source material, and it can still make sense.
Yeah.
And
It's a great way to go about it. Because, like, never in the books really do they talk about when Durin Spain destroyed the mines. They never really delve into that. It's like they always it's only from like when characters in the books read books talking about it.
Exactly.
So like when they did that wee teaser that they were slightly digging a bit too deep and that feather falling and then you hear its roar.
Yeah.
You're a bit like, oh, okay, that's cool. But if they do that right, then it's like, okay, fair enough. But again, my sister, who like does English literature and all that stuff, she's just like, why is it like a feather falling and then you hear him? That means he's about 50 to 100 feet below them. So they ain't digging far to find him. So this whole we mine too deep. Bro, you didn't even start mining and you got to his home.
Yeah, it really doesn't, as a literary device, it really doesn't communicate the ambition of the dwarves effectively. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they make it
Because
seem...
it's supposed to be greed that made that happen. They were too greedy for it. But
They're gone.
the way they sort of judged the depth was like, I don't think they were being greedy. They just started. They sort of just fell into it rather than being greedy.
And then in the show, it was like a resource war. It was like resource extraction. It wasn't like we're greedy, we really need this thing. It wasn't like we're greedy and we really need this money, you know, to line our pockets with wealth. It was like, hey, look at this really cool material. You know, we could use this. It's helpful. It's kind of dangerous to get to, but it's not super far deep. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they had every reason to think that, like, not that this is a normal excavation, but that they're qualified to do the thing they're doing. But they shouldn't stumble across some ancient demon because of it. It's not that far down. I mean, it's just regular shit.
Like when Thingy's dad, the dwarf's dad, I forgot his name, said like, we're not digging any deeper, and all that stuff. It's like, don't go through that mine. You don't know what's through there. And it's like, I just thought it was like, firstly, he should have absolutely no idea these creatures exist overall. Like, they should have no idea these creatures are even a thing. So like, why is he not wanting to dig deeper?
Yeah,
and when he finds the mithril, and it's like, I completely get the whole, we don't want to tell anyone about this. I like that side. Because, like, you know, keep it to us, it's only our thing. We don't want to expose ourselves and have other people take advantage of our success. I get that, because that's the stubbornness of dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
But then, when they eventually give in, and it happens in the books, I get that. But then it's like, why are they giving it to the elves at this point? The dwarves basically don't need it anymore before they give it to the elves. So like, the dwarves haven't even gotten started using it. And they already go, here you go, elves. Like, they already have mithril everywhere before they start handing it out to the elves. But it seems to be like, we've only got one. We only got this one little bit of mithril. And then fucking Glowing goes, you know what, mate? You can have it.
Like, what the fuck?
If I'm his dad, I'm fucking smacking him. Like, what are you doing? This is the only thing we have.
It's literally the most precious material ever discovered. And this guy's like, I know, like, digging for this shit is like our whole thing. It's like our culture, our literal identity. It doesn't matter anything to me anymore.
This could completely change our lives and turn us into, like, the superpower of the world.
Literally.
But my mate is really passionate about needing this, so I don't know.
Bro!
And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So what happens if we give him it? It's like, the elves are going to be so thankful that we just did this.
So thankful!
They're going to be like, dude, honestly, thank you so much. Are we getting anything from it? Nah, but they're just going to be so happy we just did this for them. They get to live forever now. We can't though. We're not. We can't. We're not immortal. But these guys are going to stay immortal.
First off, Ollie, that
It's
was
just
so fucking hilarious the way you said that. Holy
like,
shit.
what's going on here?
God damn, that's funny. Like, it's like if you're the Joint Chief of Staff and you have access to nuclear launch codes, and your nephew comes up and he's like, "Bro, listen, I got these frat bros, right? You know what I'm saying? I told my homies I can get nuclear launch codes, bro, and I can tweet them out, put them on Discord, and like I'll be the coolest dude in class." And the uncle's like, that feels a little irresponsible. However, you are my favorite nephew. So here, just when you post them, just don't tell him you got it from me. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's like when it's like I hear in the fucking when they were the two dwarves were chatting to each other, and it's like the fake heavy Scottish accent where it's like, "Come on, da, he really needs it," and it's just like, "Oh, dude, come on!" And it's just like, "Son, we need it for ourselves. We don't know how much we have," and it's like, "Fucking shut up, man."
Ollie, you're stupid. Okay, yeah, you have convinced me now. Like, it's, the irony of the evening is that you have convinced me to rewatch this entire show.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna watch it again.
Yeah, I have to hate watch this now.
I had to make myself like it because I was like, oh cool, it's the nostalgia. I was like, all these characters and all that, and then it's like the little they may as well call them hobbits. The little half boot. I hated those characters. Then I was like, no, I have to like them because they're gonna have something to do with Frodo and Sam, so I have to like them.
Eventually.
But oh my god, they were so annoying.
Okay, I will say this. All right, this is gonna be unpopular opinion. I'm going to defend them actually, just so we have a little bit of creative difference and variety here. So, as I am currently reading Fellowship of the Ring right now, and the Harfoots are, I mean, they are literally, they're like the proto-hobbits. The entire, I remember how I told you like months ago when I started reading that like the first entire chapter of Fellowship of the Ring is literally just like the genealogy of their entire race and stuff. The Harfoots are not mentioned by name, but they're words similar to them, like some kind of foot or something. Like they have like a similar. That's like an allegory to them. Like they are. I guess I'm not saying that what they do in the show is good. I think what I'm saying is that like there is a basis for it in the narrative, but everything that you're saying is still probably true. Their interpretation in the show can still be annoying as fuck, even if the fact that they exist is something supported by the source material.
Yeah, like I've got no problem with them existing because I knew they existed. I've got a problem with how they're existing. Like, I get they were they're travelers and all that stuff, and they never settle. I get that. I am completely fine with that. But I can never get my head wrapped around in the lore of Middle Earth. People that are like, we have to do this, and it's like, why? And it's like, it's our way of doing it. I hate that term in a fantasy world. We've always done it. And it's like, that's cool, you've always done it. But why does it have to take this 12-year-old girl to go, no, we're not doing it like this anymore? Like, come on. Just go find a house.
Settle down, you said.
Like, just go settle down. Go see your wife. Go see your kids. Just enjoy your life. If they avoid confrontation, they hide and everything. They never see themselves as top dogs. I have no problem with that. But fucking have something about you. They're just little. They're just little hobbits. Like there's nothing about them. Like, see when you read the books, there's actually a scene where the Shire gets invaded, and like Tom Bombadil and all that stuff that weren't in the movies. They were supposed to be in it, but they weren't in the movies. Like, the hobbits are immensely powerful. Like they kill so many orcs. They killed trolls and all that. Because it was basically like hobbits, a couple of wizards, and ents versus orcs and trolls, and it was so cool. like reading it. It was so cool. But then the way they've made the Hobbits seem in the Rings of Power, I don't want them to win.
Kind of annoying.
Like, yeah.
Oh, we
Oh,
won! Holy shit! Ironically, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit! I can't. Can I? There we go. Oh fuck! It stopped.
Wait, do it again.
Ah, damn it! I can't. We were so close. Ooh, I got 6 and 4. All right, I'm gonna do one more. Yeah, I agree with you because like, and this is a compliment to Tolkien is that like, one of my favorite chapters of the book is the beginning when
Yes.
Bilbo is having his birthday and he leaves,
Yes.
and then like Gandalf is gone for fucking 13 years or something like that, and then he comes back and he tells Frodo that this is the one ring that Sauron is looking for, and Frodo's freaking out. He's like, God damn it, bro, I was just having a peaceful life. I'm fucking 50 years old, even though I look like I'm 12. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a regular middle-aged guy, just living
They
in a
did
hill.
not make it seem. They did not exaggerate how pissed off Frodo was when he got told about this at the beginning. It was like in the movies, it's very much like, oh, I have to do this. Please no, Gandalf. And Gandalf goes, no, you got it. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going.
Literally.
Frodo was fucking pissed when he got told he had to do this. He left it for fucking 50 years before he actually did something about it. Like, he
So
was
fucking
furious.
He was like, the way that this man was mad, because I was reading these pages like a couple weeks ago, like at the pool, laughing my fucking ass off. Because again, love the lore. I've watched so many videos about it, seen every movie a million times. Earlier this year, I saw the extended version, right? Like, I'm familiar with the lore, but there's something that you get from reading it on the pages that you just can't get elsewhere. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't ready. That you just can't get, like, from anywhere else. I was laughing my ass off watching how fucking just dialed in Frodo was. Like, Frodo, in every interpretation, is like this meek, this meager, this mild-tempered, regular guy who has to do this really hard thing, but he really doesn't want to. He's a nice guy, but he's got to do this. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker here in this book, though, Gandalf was like, look, my boy, you got to walk all the way over there and throw this shit in there because your uncle done fucked you up. And this man is like, God damn it, no I don't. No I don't. I'm having a good ass weekend. You not finna fuck it up, old man. Fuck you. Bro, that shit is so funny.
Like, when I always have to ask my mate, because I get such the annoying questions from my mates, and it's like, oh, why didn't they take the Eagles? And it's like, okay, that's been done.
So
and then
many
it's
times.
like, so why did he pick Frodo? And it's like, it's not really that he picked Frodo. It's one of those weird things where, like, he knew he was the only one that could do it, because since Bilbo succeeded, Gandalf's got a good track record with making hobbits do really tough work.
Exactly.
So he just basically told his wee nephew, mate, it's your turn. And then, but like, when I watched the movie, before I read the books, and I remember my sister just going like, see this last 20 minutes we watched, where it was like Bilbo's birthday, Gandalf goes to see Bilbo, Gandalf leaves, Frodo is there, Gandalf goes to see Frodo. She's like, and then Frodo heads out. It's like, this half hour, 45 minutes we just watched, that's about 8 years in the books.
Literally,
And I
yes.
was like, oh, okay.
Dead ass. Bro, the difference between books and movies for these type of things, I feel like I don't think it's I honestly think that, and I obviously have a biased opinion as someone who went to film school. I think watching the movie first and then reading the book is like more enjoyable for me personally than the other way around, because if I read the book, I know every little detail, all the backstory, every nook and cranny about every character.
Yeah.
I feel like if I watch the movie in a condensed, abbreviated version of what I just enjoyed, I can still enjoy it. I'm not saying I won't. It's just that my enjoyment of the movie after reading the book will just be lesser, inevitably, than my enjoyment of reading the book after having already seen the movie. Like, you get to enjoy it all over again when you read the book after seeing the movie, but it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of like, ultimately, something's gonna be disappointing if you do it the other way around.
Yeah, it's very rare where if you find a book that's successful, and then the movies are also successful. It's very rare to find a successful movie of a bad book.
Right.
So like, if you know a series of something's good, then the books have to be good. That's the way I saw The Hunger Games. Like, I had no interest in it at all, but I watched the Hunger Games movie and I was like, this is all right. I didn't actually mind it. I thought it was okay. So I was like, the books have to be better than this then.
Yes.
Like, no matter what, it has to be better than this. And like, with Lord of the Rings, I always think you should watch the films first because like, there's it's impossible for the movies to have everything that's in the books. Otherwise, it would just be too long, and it's already quite long.
Literally.
And
And you need the
so,
extended
like,
version for it to make sense.
yes. And then when I watched, like, see the Battle of Helm's Deep, I remember watching it, like, and being like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then reading the books, and then reading all the stuff that happens, like Arwen's there, some Ents are there, and all that stuff. And it's like, holy shit! Imagine if that was in the movies.
Right.
You understand why it can't be, but imagine if it was.
Like, if you've seen the movie, you've seen a visual representation of those very important narrative events, right? And it's like my understanding of what Frodo is supposed to look like, of what Gandalf is supposed to look like and everything, obviously it is tied forever to the movies, right? And I think that because I saw the movies first, it's so easy for me to paint such a vivid picture in my mind of everything that's going on in the movies. Like, okay, if you watch the movies first and then read the book, it's like you get to experience the movie for the first time twice. But if you read the book first and then see the movie, it's like you get to enjoy the book the first time. You get to enjoy the book for the first time one time, and then the movie, it's like you don't really get to enjoy the movie originally in the same way. And then I don't know. I have a hard time articulating it, but I feel like in one way you dilute it, but in another way, in the other direction, you enhance it.
Yeah. It's just you good films will always be good,
Right.
but I don't know, you can really appreciate a good book because it's so like, I feel probably books nowadays are probably one of the hardest forms of communication to do because so many people are just like, I can't be arsed.
Right.
Like, I just can't be arsed watching it. Like, or reading it. It's like, it's too long, I don't have time to read it. Tell me, is there a movie about it?
Right.
But like, a good book is like, it doesn't get appreciated enough. Like, how difficult it is. Like, especially like Lord of the Rings and the Harry Potters. It's like, it's so hard to keep people's interest for 7-8 books.
Consistently.
Yeah, like if you do it if there's one successful book, then it's a bit like, yeah, well done. Like,
Yeah.
still an achievement, but like, yeah, cool. There's a bunch of other books that are just as successful. But like, if you do a trilogy or like a series, and it's hitting high numbers, like, you gotta like, even if you don't like it, you gotta give it credit. You can't say it's bad.
Which is, I kind of feel like that explains, like, from the 90s all the way into today, the era of the young adult fiction, of these fictional universes, specifically for people like in middle school and high school. It's because they're the only ones with the time now. You know what I'm saying? Like, work has become such a huge portion of our life and has taken up so much of our goddamn time that it's kind of like the only way you'll ever have time to read this is if you're literally a student in school who doesn't have a job. And that's why, that explains why that audience is targeted. But at the same time, all of those books are trying to do something that, like, adult novels often aren't trying to do, unless you're fucking James Patterson or something and you write 1,000 books a day, right? Is that they're all trying to establish not just a story, but a fictional universe. One that can be turned into 1,000,001 movies, franchising rights, merchandising and things like that. Of course, there's a capitalist angle, but yeah, it's it's like those books can try to do so much because they can do so much. So I agree with you. It's like if you're an adult and you really just want like a good book, I mean that's probably the best thing you can hope for, considering so much of what's going out here is like every book is trying to be the start of the next Harry Potter or the next Hunger Games.
Yeah, it's like the same with like movies, games. It's everything. Every form of media. It can't just be one good thing. Like it has to be, if it's even slightly successful, there has to be spin-offs, has to be sequels, prequels.
Yes.
It can't just be one thing and then leave it alone. Like that's what annoys me about just a lot of like, like video game like Ghost of Tsushima. I absolutely love that game, but in myself, I have absolutely zero desire for a second one.
Right.
Like just leave it alone. Just like leave it alone for 5-10 years, and then remaster it. Like I'll update the graphics. That'll do me happy. Like you don't have to make a whole new game.
Oh no, I thank you for saying that. And like I feel like that's the problem with Disney right now, is that Disney is the owner of so many beloved IPs that they don't really know how to make something different unless it's the same old tired story of like character A is different from character B and they have to learn to be together or some stupid cartoon shit. I don't know. Like I sound like I'm being disrespectful to the art form. I love Pixar. Pixar and Disney have created some of like American literature's greatest stories, but they are in where they are right now. They are dead creatively, because why the fuck are we getting like a live action Lilo and Stitch and a live action Tangled and a live action Moana, not even 10 years old yet? Like everything, it's like they make a thing and then they have to make a newer version of it the next day because it's like, ooh, they like this, they must like 2,000 more. It's like they're not human beings running these companies. These aren't real, they can't be real people. It's like they literally think that we're just numbers. We react to one thing. They think it's a science and not an art form, right? They like that Moana shit that one time. Let's just give it to them again and see how much we can squeeze out of them. Meanwhile, not completely original, but like standalone shit is happening, or ostensibly standalone shit like Oppenheimer and Barbie making billions of dollars at the box office because finally, not a Marvel thing, finally not a Disney thing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm completely burned out of superhero stuff. I think it was, well, I don't remember what it was after. I remember watching Shang-Chi and really liking it. I thought it was really good. But then I watched, what did I watch? I watched like WandaVision, Loki, Thor, fucking that Winter Soldier series, and then the movies when they were coming out. Then I watched Spider-Man and I was like, this is too much.
Yes, thank you.
And it's like my brother who's like big into Marvel was like, "Oh, have you watched the Black Widow movie yet?" And I was like, "No." It's like,
Same!
"Have you watched Black Panther 2 yet?" It's like, "No."
God,
And it's just like I just couldn't be arsed. I can't be arsed.
it's too much.
Like they need to get rid of some of these guys. Like there's too many people.
Ollie, thank you for like seeing me as a person. Holy shit.
Like Thor used to always be my favorite character because just very stereotypical guy. I like Thor.
Right.
But after the new one, I was like I didn't mind the Love and Thunder. I thought it was okay. But like watching it and then like he has the kid and all that stuff and then they go do their thing. I just kept thinking it's like I don't give a shit what happens to them.
Nope.
Like they could die in the next one, and I'll just be like, I don't know. Shit happens. I got 35 other superheroes to look at.
Shit happens. Also, I'm getting murdered over here. If anybody wants to.
Okay. Like just.
Oh fuck! I'm down.
I reckon.
I cracked him.
See Endgame. You know how like Iron Man and all that stuff. The big six should have just all gone at that point.
Agreed. So
like they've added so many new characters. Now's the time to like pass the mantle kind of thing.
So number one, you're saying a million things I agree with and a million things I relate to. In that like when it comes to Marvel, I am so burnt out so incredibly burnt out. The last thing I watched, to be fair, like a couple weeks ago, I did watch all of Moon Knight, but I watched it all in a single day because if I didn't
I like
finish it in
Midnight.
yeah, I enjoyed it too. Yeah, but like I was in the opinion like if I didn't finish this all in one go, I'm never coming back to it. I simply can't be bothered, like you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like it was good and I enjoy it. That's fine. That has nothing to do with whether or not I'm able to watch it. It's just too much content. And I too, my boy Phil, he's like, he's like he's damn near a journalist when it comes to like comic book material and everything. He hasn't missed a beat. And I know he's getting tired. It's hard for him to keep up, but he still keeps up. And a lot of times he'll mention stuff in passing. And unfortunately, I have nothing to add because I haven't seen anything for like a generation now. Like I saw Love and Thunder and I saw Spider-Man. And I think the last thing in the MCU, the last thing that I watched in the MCU before that, I can't remember. Okay, so like Black Panther was special. It was different. Number one, because like my roommate literally worked on it. His name was in the credits, so that was a big thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. And then also it was fucking Black Panther. Like I'm gonna see that one. I'm gonna see that.
Black Panther, it's the most unique out of all of them. Like
exactly.
It's very much its own film.
Yes, it is. It is also. It is in some way, and it is a lot of ways the most fantastical while also being the most grounded. It's the one that relies so heavily on what's going on, like that, and like Captain America, Winter Soldier, Falcon, all that type of stuff. Like I appreciate those grounded ones because it makes me feel like in some way I'm not quite watching a Marvel movie. But anyway, I agree with you. My theory when Infinity War happened, and then and Endgame hadn't come out yet, when like half the MCU was killed off or something in the blip or whatever you want to call it. My theory was that like this boy Captain America was dead ass talking about when Vision was trying to sacrifice his life and stuff. Captain America was like, we don't trade lives or something. That's what he said in Avengers Infinity War. Fuck you, fucking Chun-Li. Anyway, that feels kind of racist. Anyway, but I was so pissed off because I thought that they were gonna make him eat his words. Like he was gonna have to realize that's what they're gonna have to do. Is that like it's either gonna be us or them. And the original six, were gonna have to sacrifice their lives collectively so that the new Avengers, Black Panther, Vision, Wanda, everybody, so that they can get a chance. But they made the mistake of leaving literally any of them alive. There should not have been a Thor 4. And again, I kind of enjoyed the movie. It was fine. This shouldn't have happened.
It's just very much like we don't need yous anymore. Like Thanos was really cool. I thought he was a really cool villain. But like the only time he really flexed his power, like getting the Infinity Stones, and again was fucking potluck that he stumbled upon those things.
Literally.
And then like fucking Chris Pratt had a big moan and cry and punched him when he started speaking about his dead missus. That's about it. But then like see Thanos killing Loki, and it's like, okay, cool. And then it's like, but if Thanos killed Hulk when they had their big fight, it's a bit more like, shit, right? So he's the real deal.
He's a threat.
Yeah, like you can't mess with him. He just killed what everyone assumed was the guy, like the most powerful dude. But then, and if he kills Thor, I'd probably just go like, right, he's won. He's just won. If he kills Hulk and Thor, it's GG, game's over, it's wrapped. But it's just a bit.
Right now,
it's a lot of nothing.
Fuck! I knew it. That's how they got with the goddamn shotgun. But yeah, I get it. Go ahead. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, it's very lazy. It's just that's why I like The Boys, because it's just like anything can happen to anyone at any point. And like, see when Infinity War, when all the guys disappear, I only watched the films at that point, and I was just like, yeah, cool, looks cool. And then my brother, when it's all happening, when Black Panther fades away, he goes, Chadwick Boseman's signed a new 5-year contract with Marvel. I was like, oh, well, he's definitely coming back, so he's not dead.
Yikes.
It just ruined all the sort of suspense. Like, most of the people there that faded away had new deals and new series coming out. Like, when Bucky disappears, like, he's got Winter Soldier coming up. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I agree, and like I credit the MCU if they deserve any credit. I feel like what they did with 10 years of MCU concluding in the end game, that is a once in a generation thing. That
Oh
probably
yeah.
won't happen again in my lifetime, if I'm being honest. Because now that it's been done, everybody who tries to do it is just kind of copying the originator, and we're just kind of sick of it. We're tired of it. There's too much MCU, and if I try to see somebody else try to build a new fictional universe with a million different characters, I'm pissed off already. I'm antagonized by it, right? But the MCU, they were the only ones doing it well, and because DC tried, because they did it and they did it at one time. That's it, and I'm glad I was alive to see that in that period of history. But yeah, it's fucked up that like Spider-Man dies, and then you get all these articles about how Tom Holland has a new 10-year contract. Like, what the?
Yeah.
Like, stop letting the fourth wall breaks ruin the narrative. Like, this shit is fucked up. It's annoying.
Like, it's that really heartfelt moment between him and Iron Man. It's like, oh, I don't want to go, Mr. Stark. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, shut up, mate. You're coming back. They're not going to kill fucking Spider-Man like this, are they?
No.
Like, they could have really picked and choose who disappeared. Like, I feel they just went, closed their eyes, had a big sheet of paper of all the superhero names, and just went, you, and you. Okay, they're going.
That's literally what they did. That's absolutely what the fuck they did. And like, it should have been, in my opinion, because you realize all the original 6 were still alive at the end of Infinity War. I felt like the original 6 are gonna have to find a way to trade their lives, give their lives for the other half of the universe, and take Thanos with him. And then everybody gets to go. Like, they get to make that sacrifice. They half-measure did it with Iron Man, and to be fair, that had, like, it was less, it made, I hate what it did to the narrative, but I love what it did emotionally, thinking that one man, the originator of the MCU, was able to sacrifice his life for everybody. That was, like, good on an emotional level, but, oh my god, the calamity that caused for the narrative. Captain America should be dead, and for all intents and purposes, he is, because he hasn't showed up again, but fucking Hulk should be dead. He shouldn't show up again. Black Widow, the movie should never have come out after she's already literally dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what the? And then Thor, getting that 4th movie, Gore was a great villain. Holy shit, I love seeing him. We should have found somebody else to put him. That 4th movie should not have happened, and now they're trying to do a 5th. I'm tired, Ollie. I'm exhausted.
One absolute waste of Christian Bale as well.
God, yes,
Like,
that man can act.
he was so cool. Like, he was so badass. And then it's like, at the end, he dies. I was just felt like, oh, I thought he could have been, because like they had him ready to start kill a fucking god. So it's like, maybe he's the next bad guy coming up, maybe. But then it's like, oh no, take care of my daughter, will you?
Like,
Okay, great. Cheers, thanks.
they turn what could be a literal cosmic threat into a one-and-done villain, and I will never forgive them for that.
And again, it was like, he's so powerful. But then fucking, because he got all sad, he died.
Because he
Like,
got all sad?
He didn't get outpowered, he didn't get outstrength. He bet forward every single fight they were in. They had them all shit scared of him. Then he thought about his daughter and was like, oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, to be fair, he was fucking him up. He kind of got Naruto'd, whereas like friendship no jutsu or whatever, whereas like I can't beat you with raw force, let's talk it out, and somehow through the magic of plot armor, I'm gonna emerge victorious for some goddamn reason.
I'm gonna make sure you die and I'm taking your child from you. Like, I don't know who to support in this. Like, Thor made this guy basically kill himself and then took their child.
Yeah, when you think about it, maybe Thor is actually a bad person.
If they turn Thor evil, I will be very interested in that. Scarlet Witch being evil, I don't really care.
Oh my,
if I'm being honest.
Okay, all right, okay. I have to say this. I have to fucking say this. I will never be more pissed off. I will never be more pissed off. I am saying this with certainty. Nothing pisses me off more than Wanda being the villain of Multiverse of Madness when she just spent like 3 movies and a TV show getting a redemption arc. She was like misguided but not evil the first time we saw her. Like the first time we saw her, she didn't even spend the whole movie as a villain. Like the first time we saw her, she spent the majority of the movie as like a bad guy who's like being mind controlled and misled and stuff, and then ends it as like maybe an anti-hero, you know what I'm saying, but not a bad guy. And then she comes into the next movie and she's one of the Avengers. Cool. And then you get the whole fucking TV show. And the TV show, she's like, man, I'm doing a bad thing. I have to accept that I'm doing a terrible thing, but I have a good reason, but it's not good enough to justify what I'm doing. Have to accept it, make amends for it, you know, get my recompense and all this other type of stuff. And then the next movie, it's like they forgot WandaVision fucking happened. And there's like, oh, I'm just evil again. I'm just trying to kill you to save my sons. And literally, this is true. I read most of the writers for Multiverse of Madness did not watch WandaVision.
Oh, excellent.
Holly, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up.
She like, wasn't like her family were killed by Stark missiles when he was funding the government. So like right at the very start of Iron Man and stuff. So Stark Enterprises missiles killed her family. Her brother dies. And then, like, those are two very, very logical reasons to turn evil on the Avengers. Then she somehow just goes, you know what, past is the past. And then, like, she helps them out. But then, the second it goes, you know what, I kind of liked my imaginary kids I made up in my head. I'm going to make that a reality. And that's the reason she turns completely evil?
When
like,
she spent like at the end of the literal show that has her name on it, she makes peace with the fact that they're not real, and they immediately go back on it.
Yeah. And then all it takes is Doctor Strange to just walk up to her and just be like, "Here, Wanda, are you still crazy, by the way?" And she goes,
and even,
"Yeah,
you know,
pretty
there are
much."
different. Oh, Astral
That's just
Mark,
it.
thank you for the raid. Guys, go check out Astral Mark. Can
Like-
we get a shout out for Astral Mark?
Ooh, hold on one second. Somebody, I
Apparently
just rated
there's a new
somebody.
way
Somebody
to do
trying to give me a
shout outs
shout
on Twitch, and I haven't figured that out yet. Let me see if I can do that.
Oh, I didn't tell Astro about my wee dwarf. Oh well, thank God for that.
Let me see if I can do that. Give me a second here.
Be here. Yeah.
I'm
okay,
sure
let me-
I'll tell Mike someday about